Yes, once again, we are continuing with our discussion, our topic of discussion in this program of The Point. Our point this evening is to continue raising our concern why our economy needs serious attention. We are suffering, our fellow citizens are suffering from the high sky-rocketing prices of commodities. And in most cases, when such occurrence happens, it means those are indicators of inflation and economic instability. And tonight, once again, we are looking at what actions for stabilizing and enabling our agro-based economy to prosper. Honorable BANYENZAKYI, before we went for the second round, before we ended the first round, we were looking at the basic problems of economy in the diagrammatic model of explanation in accordance to our chain from 1, 2, 3. And we looked at what to produce in what quantities. And in most cases in our common known vocabulary, it's what we refer as the subsistence economy to the commercialized economy. Even the agro products which are being produced so that they can stop at only for our home consumption, at the subsistence level of where we do not do much to take the market. And also, we are looking at how to produce these goods. And number 3, for whom is the goods produced? During 1962, and as we went forth mid of 1970, but at least this was a common known history, the agro history of Uganda, were the chief producers of cotton. And because of that, most of other countries which were specializing in production, because we know in the chain of production, and most of the countries which have gone ahead to prosper and to stabilize the economies, it is vital to determine which agro product are you specializing in to produce large quantities. And I remember while I was the assistant chief administrative officer during 2009, being part of the implementation of NAD's program, there is what they used to call zoning. And zoning at a regional level, but final at a country level, national level, to know what exactly should be concentrating on to produce in large quantities and then gear towards export. As I once again come back to you, Honorable, it is still a questionable debate to some political and policy analysts. These programs which are supposed to be supporting agriculture to prosper, they are being managed under the office of the president. At first, the establishment of NAD's program, which was to support a strong agrarian economy, it had the NAD's Act, which was an act passed by the parliament. But thereafter, we come to realize that a number of phases and models which were engineered and framed under the directive of the office of the president, they came under the control of the office of the president.
Which one?
Yes, most of this program, Operation Creation Wealth, which is the latest one, and we are also having the Nyoga, we are having Parish Model, and before that there was Prosperity for All.
No, maybe
all these programs, one second, they were connected to steer an agrarian economy so that there is productivity.
No, but let's first put facts right.
Okay.
NADS is under agriculture, Minister of Agriculture.
Minister of Agriculture.
Yeah, yeah. And just OWC is not a program that has direct funding. It's just facilitate. It is a facilitator.
Yes.
So it was facilitating NADS program,
so it's
which
a booster.
is the Minister of Agriculture.
Am I right if I say it's a booster?
So NADS is definitely not in the office of the president. The parish development model is under Minister of Agriculture.
Is NAD still existing?
Yes, yes, it is there. Parish development model is under Minister of Local Government, not under the President's office. So, but we can only say it's all one government of Uganda. Nyoga is under the Minister of Finance, under microfinance, Minister of State for Microfinance. So none of those interventions are under the Office of the President. So, but there is I want to put the record right again, that the public debt for Uganda is in the range of $16 billion, not 6. It was a slip of tongue. $16 billion. That is our accumulated public debt. The total public debt that we have as Uganda.
I have a contestation on something you've said.
Why?
2012, 2014.
Yes.
At the climax of the implementation of NAD's program.
Yes.
The president suspended NAD's program. No longer to be, wait one second, the funds which were used to be allocated through the Ministry of Agriculture and then channeled to local government. I believe you still recall very well.
No,
the NAD funds.
You see,
suspended the program and say the NAD's program. That's where. Wait 1 second. At least the viewers are with this knowledge. That's when we see the coming in of deployment of the army officers.
Doctor will talk on this issue authoritatively. You see, the problem is that people think what the president speaks on a public rally becomes a law. No, it does. That's not how the government of Uganda works.
Really?
No. Or what the minister speaks on a public rally, that becomes a law. Like I have seen this minister of land who wakes up on a rally and say that these titles are going to be cancelled. I order they be cancelled. A minister, no minister, even the president, has any power, any iota. Iota, you know what an iota means? Has any iota of any power to cause cancellation of the title. A titled land. But some ministers have been seeing a minister of land, some ministers, minister of land. These titles, I order, they cancel. He has no powers.
The president doesn't have powers also?
Nothing, not even an iota.
So I'll go back to that again.
The president has not even an iota.
Since it's not our central area of discussion,
I'm telling you.
I keep my reservation.
Neither can the president, if money has been appropriated by a law, you know it, Appropriation Act. If the parliament has appropriated money in the parliament through the Appropriation Act, not even the president can say that I have stopped that money. If he has stopped that money, he has to go back to parliament, and there must be a reason. It's a law. So the president doesn't erase the authority of the law through proclamation on a rally or on a what, or through an address to the nation or whatever. No, nothing. So NADS has never been suspended.
Maybe to resolve on this issue before we go forward, there are a number of programs, and my statement is very well calculated. The recent one, which is the parish model.
Parish development model.
Parish development model.
Yes.
And the one which you're talking about, the Operation Wealth Creation, and the mid-2006, which was referred as Prosperity for All. Whereas it is very clearly known that these programs, especially beginning with the one which was not the Prosperity for All, it was being implemented under the NADS program, but on the way, with something which you cannot contest, and even this newly introduced parish model, it depended on if you cannot say maybe a declaration, but the guidance. I will be maybe shifted the way you are trying to bring in.
If you call
the guidance of the president, he said this is how the program should be. And until now, of course, being the head of state, it was taken over by the executive, which is the cabinet that determines how these policies finally are determined. And that's where we look at a number of some other programs from time to time, a bit leaning under the directive of what the president has decided. The deployment, the suspension of agriculture extension officers, which we're talking about, and the deployment of army officers, most army officers, to be the supervisors, it was the directive of the president. It was not parliament. And that's something which we want viewers to understand very well.
The president is the chief executive of all the programs in this country by constitution. By a chief executive, he can make somehow the implementation modalities. So the deployment of NADS officer, another OWC,
yes.
OWC is composed of both army officers and civilians. It was just an intervention, eyes on, hands on.
But do you think that intervention was right? Yet these army officers are not experts.
No.
They are not agriculture extension officers. And we replace the NADS officers and we replace them with...
They were eyes on, hands off. But I don't want us to go into this we shall diverge from the discussion we are having. Because when we say eyes on, are inputs being distributed? That's what the OWC officers were supposed to be doing. If they have given cows, have cows been given? If they have given tea seedlings, are tea seedlings being distributed? Coffee, are coffee seedlings being distributed? Have you confirmed? OWC officers did not replace extension workers. The argument we can make, or the argument you can work, you could say the resources being invested in this OWC, which is the budget of something like 20 billion shillings per annum. You can say that, can that budget be invested into extension workers who have expertise? That is the argument you should be doing.
Exactly.
So if we give this extension workers...
Because it matters how to produce.
And these ones are educating the people on good agricultural practices, then the question will be, who will mobilize the people? Because these OWC officers were there to mobilize the people for an uptake of coffee seedlings, uptake, tea seedlings. And no wonder our coffee is growing, by the way. Our coffee production has grown. Our tea production has grown. Our maize production have gone. So the issue is to perfect the good things that we can see, and then perfect the good things and correct the mistakes that have been made. Okay? That's the argument we should be having. So that we have enough production. That's what we are talking. We have enough production that will churn into the industries. When we are talking about, let's say, horticulture, Uganda is positioned to produce more horticultural products than Kenya, like 3 times. But because we have not invested much in this, we have not mobilized the people, we have not sensitized
Why
the
are
people.
we not doing this?
That is the point I'm raising,
Yes.
brother. I'm raising the point that we should do investment in that. That's the point I'm raising. So that this Hass avocado, for example, because our marketing channels are not properly done, it could be done through Export Promotion Board. Our Hass avocado is bought by traders from Kenya, and they export them as Kenyan products. You remember at some time back, even coffee, our coffee was being, during the days of Magendo, it was being exported through Rwanda. So it was taken as Rwanda export. I can tell you for a fact that most of the cocoa, which we're even exporting, most of it is coming, part of it is coming from Congo. We are also taking advantage of that. We buy it from Congo, it enters Uganda, we export it as cocoa
There's a strong
from
point.
Uganda. So if you get disorganized as a country, if you don't put your house in order, if you don't plan properly, there will be somebody to take advantage of you. And that's why we are talking about, for example, we're exporting our maize to Kenya, and Kenya is exporting flour, is exporting cornflakes, we're exporting chicken feed, we're exporting piggery feed, when actually we would be the one exporting to them.
The GDP of Kenya is USA dollars 109.49, and our GDP is 35.05.
Do you know why?
And as you know very well, Kenya, in terms of their agro-based economy,
yes,
it is improving day by day.
And
it is stable.
And do you know
why? Yet the reason why, as you're saying, do you know why? We know it is their deliberate move to support the agriculture.
Thank you.
There was a declaration
over a long.
There is a declaration which Uganda was a signatory. Is a signatory. The Maputo Declaration. The target, it is part of information which was very much always shared with you. The target was to fund the national budget to go as far as 15%.
I know.
And
Actually 10.
yet, yes, 10%. And yet our own from time to time, the allocation of the national budget in terms of resources, because we are looking at how we can steer up production to put much in agriculture and we produce. When we produce, then that means we can be able to manage this current situation of where there is a challenging situation of inflation.
You see,
why is it that the government has not borrowed the leaf from other countries like Kenya to support the agriculture?
Be careful when you are talking about
economy.
those Maputo declaration. Because you see now, for example, I told you, like for example, that MATIP, the MATIP project, market agriculture something. These markets being built in Busega, Wandegea, Chitintale, Fort Poto, all those big Mbale, they are being implemented through the Minister of Local Government, and yet they are for agriculture. When we're talking about this other, you go in the Minister of Lands. In Minister of Land, they have a loan component of opening up roads, local roads, to enhance agriculture. That is an agriculture. That's purely to agriculture, but it's counted in the Minister of Lands. You go in some other areas, so you find that what I would say, the poor structuring of financing of agriculture.
The poor structuring.
Poor structuring.
Yes.
You get the financing of agriculture, ACF, agriculture financing, which is in this, which has gone into Uganda Development Bank, and some of it has also gone into UDB. It's channeled through Minister of Finance.
But you talked about the interest rate.
Wait a minute, brother. That's another matter. You get money for this Emyoga or microfinance or something like that. It is into Microfinance Support Center. Microfinance Support Center administered by Minister of Finance. So all this kind of financing is not going to be captured into agricultural budget. So the structuring, the way the government is structuring this sector is not proper, because each one is fighting here, taking there, taking there. They are working in what we call working in silos. They are not harmonized. They are not harmonized as an agricultural financing. They are just pulling here. And because they are working in silos, they end up fighting with each other. You go in the Ministry of Trade, you find that the financing, the marketing for agricultural product is in the Ministry of Trade. We are talking of parish development model. Parish development model, you are talking about rural development. Rural development, you are talking about agrarian economy. Why do you take that kind of agrarian financing into the Ministry of Local Government? Local government is supposed to be about administration. So when we talk about agrarian economy, take it to the agriculture. You see, when it comes to this agriculture, you find money, you find agriculture is fighting with the Minister of Agriculture for water for production. I'm the one I'm the Minister of Water and what and what. I'm the one to be in charge of it. Irrigation, I'm the one to be in irrigation. You find that it is in the Ministry of this water and what. So there is a lot of haggling there.
Yes.
So that is why you are asking me what have I been doing. That is why we have innovatively come to rationalization of agencies. You know about that project, which has also been frustrated, by the way. I have put brain in it.
Who was frustrated?
So that, just wait. So that you have all these agencies working in tandem. Because you see, you will have a NADS acting on its own. You have Coffee Development Authority working on its own. You have Coffee Development Authority, Cotton Development Authority working on its own. DDA, Dairy Development Agency, Authority, working on its own. So there is no harmony. There is no harmonization. There is no coordination. They are working in silos. They are fighting for the mandates. So that's where partly the problem is.
Can't it be solved?
Of course. So instead of sorting this, We should be having parliament to harmonize and look into these policies. But what are they doing? The whole week discussing that they want to censure Zaki, fighting for one position. What is that? It doesn't make sense.
But I'm expecting, Honorable, at least the time.
How can Parliament take a whole week discussing that they want to censure just a member of Parliament from an assignment of a commission? What is it?
But I also bring a question to you. Why is that the people of experience and expertise are also not either petitioned to Parliament in regard to these proposals?
Which ones?
These proposals.
I have told you, I've had, for me, I will tell you, I've had an opportunity to intervene into some other area in a way or another.
Okay.
But some of the people should also know that people are laying back now. If my boss comes and tell you that I've appointed fishermen and fisherwomen,
I thought the language meant that we can have maybe increased fish production in Uganda.
I reserve my word.
So now there is another area which we're discussing. For whom is the goods produced?
For the people.
The marketability. Do we have we are talking about having the East African community, East African economic integration.
My brother.
And the Ugandan level of production to the market is believed to still be low. Much as we know, it has always been stated that Uganda is an agricultural basket for most of other countries. But we have not yet hit the target that we expected.
My brother,
to hit.
The world population is hitting 6 billion. All these 6 billion are monkeys that needs to be fed. So we should be producing, say, what is our share in this 6 billion population?
6 billion.
Yes, world population. Because this world population has feed. So what is, and remember, Uganda, we are one of the blessed countries with enough arable land. Much more blessed than Tanzania, than Kenya you are talking about. You get? We have fresh water. We have two wet seasons. If it comes to like maize, we produce maize twice in a year. Countries like Malawi, Kenya, they produce maize once in a year. But for us, because we have 2 wet seasons, rainy season.
Which magic should we use to turn those opportunities to our benefit?
That we as a nation invest into this sector. Let we create an enabling environment.
You talked about even rationalization of agencies.
There even should be the mindset change. When we go to Rwanda, what do they? You have been there, my brother. We have been there together. What do they people want?
Potatoes and what?
No, even Irish potato would be good. It's okay. There's nothing
and
wrong.
Sorghum?
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with growing sorghum and we add value in it. Sorghum is being this East African brewery is demanding sorghum to produce beer. They are demanding barley grown in our area to produce beer.
But that's
they
not
are demanding
the sorghum
cassava.
they are producing.
Okay, but some of the policies that we make also are inhibitive. Once East African breweries is making this beer, you put a high tax on that beer. Definitely, for a fact, I can also tell you that it has impacted on the production of locally produced beer. And because of that, they have laid down. They are not producing this sorghum beer, cassava beer, barley beer, because of prohibitive taxes. So if we were having a tax regime that favors these industries to use agricultural products, then there would be a high uptake of these agricultural products that we are having. Uganda breweries would be taking more wheat, more barley, would be taking more cassava, would be taking more sorghum. Okay? This sorghum that we are talking about, bushera, bushera should be a replacement of soda.
One of the challenges...
Those Coca-Cola, sugars, diabetes, what? But bushera is a healthy drink. But what are the deliberate measures we have done to educate our people? I have a son, my son, who studied in Aga Khan. He does not take soda at all. Why? Because Aga Khan Primary School, it was a policy for children not take soda because it is not healthy. So Aga Khan is telling its pupils, don't take soda because it's not healthy. We as a nation, we are not educating the people that praise the healthy, eat healthy, we have healthy food.
And we begin to support Coca-Cola.
Take Bushera.
We begin to support Coca-Cola instead
Then when
of
the Bushera industries come, we overtax them. They have a tax burden, and then they are abandoned. So there are other policies. It is a complex scenario that is affecting.
Honorable, the discussion you are bringing, and which is very pertinent, is supporting, it's an action point, supporting the agro-industry.
Yes.
Agro-industry, then innovation,
yes,
and value addition.
Even research.
Yet it is lacking. Innovation and and innovation, then research.
Yes.
But then we couldn't want to leave this discussion just
Not
at the table.
Let me give you another example.
Yes.
It is actually in this year that we have started doing agricultural sugar in Chinyara. I saw the president commissioning that factory. For all these years that we have been in sugar, we are not into that kind of stuff. Sugar, we have been importing industrial sugar, yet we can do it here because we have our sugar cane.
Finally, as we conclude,
we are importing this pharmaceutical flour.
As we conclude our program,
yes,
there are just one point to make. You'll be given 1 minute. The utilization of the meager resources is a challenge. And the economy, our target is that it should be growing. In your 1 or 2 words, what should the government could you advise the policymakers and also the citizens to do so that we can have a stable economy? Your last word, and we conclude.
Make deliberate policies and interventions,
yes,
that will make the agricultural sector grow through good agricultural practices.
Good agricultural practices.
And good agricultural practices, this means to have even a good seed policy. We have, you have the inputs, we have the chemicals, fertilizers should be the right. Then you should do right investment through financing, which is not prohibitive. We should have patient capital. We should have interventions into these industries.
Thank you.
An agency like Uganda Development Bank should help the private sector, Ugandans themselves. Because if you see coffee, Nescafe will not allow, we always want you to give them coffee and bring it their child.
Thank you so much.
So we need to
Honorable.
put enough financing into agro-processing.
Yes.
Affordable finance, patient capital, and even develop the skills. If you are going to have universities, educate more agriculturalists.
There's one point you've not mentioned. You have said, you always say it, we must also fight against corruption decisively.
You must fight against corruption
utilization
effectively.
When
money is appropriated for agricultural sector, for agricultural projects, it must be utilized for that.
Thank you.
But not to go there and then it is siphoned.
Thank you.
By the...
I want to take this opportunity to appreciate you for your well-articulated action points on how we can stabilize our economy. We continue to look at the possible solutions that can even help our population, which is still struggling with the recent challenge of the skyrocketing of basic commodities. And we hope, as we patiently continue to find out the solutions and the action point,
by the way,
together,
on that issue,
yes,
let me use 1 minute.
Yes.
You see this fight that has been between Bank of Uganda and banks, it has weakened the strength of the shilling, but you are not being told. And that one will cause inflation, and that's why the prices are moving forward. There is loss of confidence in our Ugandan currency. So that debate that has been having there between Crane Bank and Bank of Uganda and the weak administration and corruption and bad governance within the Bank of Uganda has affected this.
We will come to that
discussion
even the
but
next
the
time.
story is not being told.
We must come back to that, and we appreciate you for the good information you are sharing with the viewers, and which you've highlighted on. And it has been great to have you viewers, all of you over there. Especially, I encourage you to continue following us on this program. Thank you for viewing Smart 24 TV. You can find the best with us through this program. Thank you once again. You'll be welcome again when we
Thank you, bro.
Yes, please.